Hey there, scrappers and recyclers. It's Shark Scrapper. We have a scale here that came from the business that's going out of business. It's an Alcatel. I tested it. It is not functional. So I am going to scrap it. Give us an idea of what's underneath of and inside of an industrial type scale. Come on, let's dive in. Now, one of the first things that we notice is that this is a pretty high-end scale here. You can see that it has a capacity of 5 pounds if you're going by 0.1 ounce, 30 pounds if you're going by 0.5 ounce, and you have all number of programming capabilities here. You can put in what it is. You would have programmed in rates from folks, and I suspect that this would have been connected by the internet and automatically updated. And very possibly companies would have, when they weighed something out, they would have been able to do everything right online, you know, from the scale and maybe a PC next to it. Anyway, let's take a look at what we're dealing with, because this is a pretty high-end scale. Now, I actually picked up, I think, 3 scales from them. The other 2 work fine, so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep those for me or if I'm going to sell those. But this one, yeah, just did not work at all. Oh, look at that. It's a 5/32. An Allen key there, so, you know, apparently they've had to work on these before. That's funny. They marked it 5/32. I wonder if my Kaiweets has enough oomph to get this. Yeah, apparently it does. It doesn't have enough oomph to get it started because it's kind of corroded, but once I give it a little bit of a twist, then it just tears right through it. Hello, come off of there. Alrighty, I heard something go clump, so it's separated from the base. We got to get these guys out of here. That's a tough one. So the link down below for the Kaiweets, there's 2 links. You should find 2 links. One for the ES21, one for the ES20. The ES21 is the new one. I like this a lot better. They've done a really good job with this. Yes, I get a small commission, and I do appreciate it. I tell you, I like the tool so much that, you know, I don't even care if you use the link. Go to Kaiweets and order yourself one. They're just really good. All right, let's see now. What do we got going on here? That's plastic. I can't tell if that is plastic or aluminum. It sounds like plastic. This is aluminum. This is the actual load cell right here. And the way these work is you saw that it was bolted down. So it was like that. It was bolted down here. And then you can see that the weight, whatever weight you put on the scale, will push down on this side here. And then however much this flexes, that allows this circuitry to generate a little bit of a differential that allows the system to calculate the mass and weight, depends on if you talk mass or weight, that was causing that differential torque on this. So that's the Reader's Digest version. Anybody here that has designed or engineered scales could probably give us infinitely better details on it and make a lot more sense and be much more clear about it. But that's sort of the Reader's Digest version of how these things work. Now, how does this come off of here? Let's set you over here for a minute. That bolt might go all the way through. Let's see. Yeah, no, I could have gotten a socket and made this really fast, but all right, well, that bolt did not go all the way through to the base. It was some sort of tuning bolt or something. La 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 la. Maybe there's a maybe this comes off here. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. There we go. So we have two more of those. I'm going to guess they're the same size Allen. Trying to do this so you can see it. It's a little bit awkward. Okay. I'm going to hang on to, kind of cool, it's got these LED lights here too. All right, we got that part off. Boy, that just really kind of sounds like plastic. It, yeah, that just, golly. Yeah, that's plastic. Man, that is the most metallic kind of plastic I've ever seen. All right, so now we have this big chunk of aluminum. Let's get the board out of here. I know that there are going to be some folks who are going to say something about, I should have reused it, I should have tried to fix it. You know, it's, I get it, I understand what you're saying, but this thing was not working in any way, shape, or form. And these things are, the quality ones are pretty expensive, and to try to fix it, I just would have probably either cost me a lot of money or would have taken me forever because I don't have the expertise to do it, so I would have had to learn it. All right, now we have a little teeny tiny board. Insulated copper wire here. There's some actual copper strands here. I'm guessing those are, yeah, those are resistors. If you ever go to double E school, you would probably learn the color coding, so you would know how much resistance is there. We have solder, and you can see the tracings, and the tracings are probably just copper for this thing. Anyway, that's going to go in low grades. Oh, I need to cut the wire off of that. Yeah, I'll pull that out again and cut the wire off of there. Got a little bit ahead of myself now, didn't I? All right, that connector is a gold connector, and I don't know if you can see the gold plating on there. And then number 3, insulated copper wire. And we'll get the copper off of the aluminum. little very fine strands, and they're on there with some sort of little paste kind of thing. There we go. I think I got them all. And then that can just go in with my aluminum. All right, get this ferrous stuff out of the way. Let's check this stuff. Let's make sure it's not stainless. Ah, yeah, so that might be stainless. It falls off pretty easily. So I'm thinking that's stainless. And that one is stainless because that does not react at all to the magnet. So I'm going to put that in with stainless steel hardware. Now then, this is looking pretty nice. Big chunk of aluminum for the deck. Yeah, that's a nice big chunk of aluminum. And we have a pretty decent board here, actually, in this, you know, it's kind of surprised. And then a great big transformer over here. So if you've been watching my channel since I moved here to Western North Carolina, you know that my local yard, the one that I go to right now, is not taking these as transformers or motors. They're taking it as shred. However, there is another yard here, and I need to get over to them. So I'm setting these aside until I know for sure what the other yard does. This is number 2 insulated. We'll get these brass ends cut off. The yard that I'm going to right now, they want the ends cut off of anything that's number 2 or better. Number 3, they don't care about. And I'm going to throw that in with my number 2. Might have been a little bit of a stretch on the number 2 there, but I think we're okay. All right, so you go over there until I'm ready for you. No surprise, that transformer was the real weight in this thing. This is the switch. There's our ground strap. So I'm going to put that in with number 2. Switches, I just throw those in with shred. I'm not going to mess with it. Let's see, this hardware is ferrous. Ferrous. All right. Let's see. You. Alrighty now. Huh. Cool. All right, so the ribbon wire, these ends are probably, yeah, so you can see that this connector is gold-plated pins. So these are probably gold-plated pins. And we just cut those off. This goes in with my number 3 for the yard that I take it to. Your yard may have a separate ribbon wire or computer wire category. And then those connectors go in with my gold connector ends. And this wire is really, really, really thin, possibly copper. in there, but I just throw it in with my number 3. Let's see here now. The wire wrap's undone here. And we got some, those are going to be the LCD display boards. And you can see that there's a nut there. So the bolt head is probably right underneath there somewhere. Let's see what happens if we get the covering off of this, what that reveals to us. Isn't that cool? All right, so those are probably just little pieces of tin or something. Maybe they're really thin aluminum. There's a faint reaction to the magnet, so I'm just going to throw this in with shred because that's not a silver mylar. And these, those are gold. I don't know if you can see it as I move it around, but those are gold plated for sure. Gold Enig probably. And those are posts, not nuts. I mean, not bolts. So let's go ahead and get those removed. Need a little bigger than that. Let's see, maybe we just loosen them and spin them off with our fingers. What do you think? Yep, so if you spin it in the right direction, dummy. All right. Now, got the wire off of here. And we have to take these little tabs and rotate them so they line up with the hole. Usually, you can just use your edge cutter. But sometimes, depending upon the size, you may need to use a screwdriver. So either way that works for you or the particular circumstance is the way to do it. Much easier with this one because it's so large to just use the edge cutter. Don't squeeze too hard or you'll cut the tab. And that would make it a little more difficult to get the LCD off. All right, so now we have a nice peripheral high grade. Let's get this wire wrap tab off of there because that's just junk plastic. So IC chips here, there may be gold bonding wires in there. For those of you that are interested in the actual components themselves, we have some sort of probably film resistors there that are probably not going to have any real precious metal value. And we've got the gold Enig all over it and probably gold tracings in there. So there's some good potential gold value for home refiner. For me, this is peripheral high grade for board sort. That's where I get my value. All right. Now again, same thing with this board. This is identical to the one I just did. So peripheral high grade there. LCD screens, the screen itself will contain a substance called indium tin oxide. Indium is a rare earth material, but I have not found anybody that recycles the indium. So I have been unable to sell those as indium. When I was down in Florida, I hung on to them for a long time and nobody ever showed up, so they did not get, nobody ever wanted to buy them for the indium, so then they just got thrown in with the shred. Number 3 insulated. But if any of you know of a company that does recycle indium, please let me know. I have yet to find one, and I would like to see that happen. All right, so we have a series of IC chips here, which again are potential gold bearing material. These look like these are older style tantalum, epoxy dip tantalum capacitors. I'd have to get a microwave and look at a microscope, magnifying glass. Man, I think I need some more coffee today. Anyway, I think I need a magnifying glass to look and see the markings on there to tell for sure. I know that they are a capacitor of some sort. They look like the older style tantalum capacitors that have been dipped with a epoxy coating. Tantalum is a material that some people would want to recover. The only places that I've found that buy tantalum capacitors, one is boardsort.com, and they buy the little boxy tantalums. The other place I found in Florida would never respond to my queries, so they may not even be in business anymore. Then you have gold-plated connectors here. Here's some more types of capacitors and a resistor. Probably not much in the way of precious metal value in those. Little lights, I think. Wait a minute, those were the buttons. These were on the back side, so these would not have been lights. These were picking up on the current from when you would push on the button. Yeah, bleh. Look at the signal, dummy. So, I think we've got a couple of options here. We can pull off the ICs and go peripheral low grade, because you got all this visible gold on it. Or I could leave the ICs on and probably justify a peripheral high grade. Let's see how easy these guys want to come out. Put you over here. Oh, that's easy. That just cleans that board up real nice. So for the time being, I'm going to leave it like this and put it in peripheral high grades. And what are you guys? You do not react to the magnet. You are really light. I will set them aside and see if they throw off any sparks on the grinder, but I'm thinking these are aluminum. You guys hang out there for a while. All right, back to our board, our main board here. Let's go ahead and get it freed from the base. This is just a number 2 Phillips. Come on, dummy. It's a nut. There we go. Little shield here. Does not react to a magnet. It is very, I'm going to say aluminum. I should probably put a grinder on that and confirm. We have some gold-plated pins in these connectors, and I believe they were Mux looking. Oh no, they're not Mux, but they're some nice gold-plated pin connectors there. There's the male, female. So we will go ahead and get those off of there. Should be pretty quick. Except that they have nuts on the end of them. Oh, nuts. Fortunately, I can hold it with my thumb. There we go. All right. Well, it has some nice deep gold color on those pins. It's an, you can tell it's an older device. So gold connector ends. If you're into gold recovery, then by all means, you know, you might want to go ahead and try to pull those pins out of there. And we will cut the ends off of the ribbon wire because those are probably got gold plated pins in there as well. Number 3, gold connector ends. This wire is kind of thin. I'm going to throw it in my number 3. And we'll put these connectors down here. All right then. What are you? Ferros. Ferros. Gather you guys up and see if any of this is stainless steel or brass. Come on, Magnet. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it appears to all be ferrous. All right. Well, except for the little nylon and plastic bits. What is that? Ferrous. Yeah, so get these feet off of here too. I don't think you guys want to watch me unscrew some stuff, so I'll just set this down here and get to that here in a little bit. Now, let's look at this. Nice board. You have some really big socket mounted ICs. So those are easy enough to remove. Just take a screwdriver, give it a little bit of a, there you go. And it comes right out. You can also grab it with pliers. You don't need any fancy IC thing because you're not going to be trying to sell these as functional ICs. And we'll just get these 3 out of here so that we can take a look at the rest of the board. Alrighty, now the rest of these ICs are socket mounted, so you can see the pins go all the way through the board, and then there's a little solder on the back to hold them in place. That's gonna, there's, you know, potential gold bearing material there. These are almost definitely, let's see, yes, these are tantalum. They are epoxy dipped tantalums. You can tell because, hopefully this will be visible to you all. But you can see this little L looking symbol on it. So that is a tantalum capacitor. Now, the epoxy dipped tantalums are a little bit harder to sell, but there may be buyers out there for the epoxy dipped tantalum capacitors. Oscillators may or may not have silver in them, but boy howdy, they are difficult. They're fiddly. 999 Doosan, that's 3 numeral 9s, and then Doosan, D-U-S-A-N, did a video on getting the silver out of oscillators, and I'm going to let him just do that because I'm not. Way too difficult. I just noticed this chip here. This is gold. I don't have a manufacturer on that, but that is an older ceramic gold IC chip. So there's going to be some good gold recovery value there. It also really lends to helping assess the value of this board. We have various capacitors and resistors here that are probably not going to have any precious metal value to speak of. We make our way across. That's going to be some sort of speaker, I think. Another oscillator, some more capacitors. Some people like to open these up to get the aluminum. I don't mess with it. We have some MOSFETs here. And the heatsink on the back of this is copper. Some people will actually take the time to bust the copper away from the plastic or ceramic. There's no precious metal value of the ceramic part that I'm aware of. Certainly leave a comment if you have found, if I'm screwing that up somehow. There's some more gold-plated pins here with jumpers on them. I don't know if you can see right there. That is a jumper, this little plastic thing here, and it will have gold-plated material inside of it. You might as well just leave it on the board when you're selling the board, or I suppose you could throw it in with gold-plated connector ends. We have a lot of gold-plated pins along the board here, and in these sockets we have aluminum heat sinks for MOSFETs across here. We have some more diodes, capacitors, and such. Probably nothing of precious metal value in those. Maybe a little bit of silver in those, maybe. But wouldn't get too excited about that. Now, I suppose there are some people that simply can't sell their boards, and so they just have to get whatever they can from depopulating the boards. And that can be, challenging because a lot of components, depending upon their age, may or may not have had silver or copper or, gold or even platinum, maybe palladium in there. I don't know for sure on the components. But I have had a viewer rather adamantly ask me to do more detailed reviews of the materials that are in each of the components. So I'm going to be doing a lot of research on some of these things and putting together a detailed video on precious metals in various components. If you are really interested and you don't want to wait for that video, then go check out 999 Doosan's video because he does a really good job. Let's see, what do we have over here? You're another capacitor. You are probably also a tantalum, epoxy dip tantalum, I'm thinking. A nice big one there. All right, so that's that side of the board. The back side is just the back side, nothing there. All right, so now, what is this going to go, what category is this going to go into? It is a peripheral board. And the question becomes peripheral high or low. And the only thing that's really gumming up the works is this part of the board. Nice, because this part of the board has some chunky capacitors and aluminum heat sinks that kind of junk things up. that might downgrade the board. I could maybe go through the trouble to cut this part off, right there. But I don't really think I have to, because there's so much value on this board in the way of ICs, and certainly this one is going to have a lot of potential gold value on it. I think that this would be fine to just put it in the peripheral high grades the way it is. All right, everybody, I am going to work on getting all the rest of the ferrous bits off of this nice big chunk of aluminum. While I'm doing that, why don't you all check out the videos that are popping up on somewhere over here on either side of the screen to take you to more shark scrapper content, and the round thing in the middle, that's to help you to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. I will see you all on the next one.